Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys two of my favorite speed duel decks. I know I don't really do speed duel that much on this channel, however I would like to cover it a bit more, maybe do some duels as well as maybe do some YouTube shorts with some of the deck profiles. However, I just quickly wanted to go over two of my favorite that I will be doing a live duel hopefully soon on the channel for you guys. But first, let's go ahead and show off the heroes. Starting off with skills, of course, we do run the right hero for the job. This card just says that once per duel during your main phase, you can shuffle one elemental hero monster you control into your main deck, and then special summon one level 4 or lower elemental hero monster from your main deck with a different name than the shuffled monster. This card is really powerful, one of the most powerful hero skills in my opinion, because it does allow you to get any of the materials you need for one of your fusion summons, which of course we do pair with the best normal summon in the deck. We do run 3 copies of elemental hero Blazeman. Blazeman, all this card really does for the deck is that when it's summoned, you can then search for a polymerization. So practically this card in combination with any other elemental hero monster in your hand will get you to a fusion using the right hero for the job. This card does have another effect saying that during your main phase you can activate this effect. You cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except fusion monsters. Also send one elemental hero monster from your deck to the graveyard except elemental hero Blazeman. And if you do, this card's attribute and attack and defense become the same as the monster sent to the graveyard until the end of the turn, which is just really powerful. But again, we mainly use it for the polymerization effect to swap it out with the right hero for the job. And of course, continuing on with the elemental heroes, we do run 2 copies of elemental hero Avian, 2 copies of elemental hero Persenatrix, and then I only run 1 copy of Sparkman and 1 copy of Clayman. Of course, these hero normal monsters are really powerful on their own. However, just being able to combine them with Blazeman just allows you to be able to get so much advantage and be able to bring out big boss monsters on turn 1. Of course, continuing on into the spells, we do of course run 3 copies of A Hero Lives. A Hero Lives' main target of this is of course Blazeman, because Blazeman is your combo starter and be able to set up big monsters just by using Blazeman, which is just really powerful. Of course, we do run 1 copy of Reinforcement of the Army. Only reason why we run this card at 1 is because I do play by the Speed Duel ban list, which is not technically official and does not have to be played this way. However, if you were to have to take this to an event, you can only run 1 copy of any limited card, so therefore, if you were to want to run Reinforcement and some other limited card, you cannot. You can only run 1 limited card, which I think is very interesting and definitely takes inspiration after Duel Links. Continuing on, I do run 2 copies of Skyscraper. Skyscraper just says if an elemental hero monster attacks a monster with higher attack, the attacking monster gains 1,000 attack during the damage calculation only, which is just really powerful just to be able to get over bigger monsters. But really, that's all that this card really does. Continuing on into the fusion cards, we of course do run 2 copies of Polymerization. Only reason why we run 2 is because this card is very searchable using Blazeman, as well as, of course, A Hero Lives to summon Blazeman. So I just feel like this card does not need 3 copies in the deck. Then, of course, to recycle Polymerization, I do run 1 copy of Fusion Recovery, which does... Then, of course, continuing on, we do run 1 copy of Fusion Recovery. Fusion Recovery just says that you can target 1 Polymerization in your graveyard and 1 monster in your graveyard that was used as a material for a fusion summon, and then add them to your hand, which is just really powerful just to be able to recycle your fusion cards. Then to wrap up the deck, I personally run 2 copies of Hero Signal. Hero Signal just says that when a monster you control is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, so summon 1 level 4 lower elemental hero monster from your hand or deck, so that'll allow you to be able to set up defense by either summoning out Clayman, or if you want to just be able to set up for your next turn, you could always just summon Sparkman for a little bit of extra damage. Or if you just want to set up another fusion, you can just always search your Blazeman, or summon your Blazeman to search, which is just a really powerful card that can get you extra advantage and a monster onto the field. And of course, moving on into the extra deck, we do run 2 copies of Elemental Hero Nova Master. This card just says that it must be fusion summon, and if this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, draw 1 card. And the reason why we run this card is it is a 2600 attack monster that just requires 1 Elemental Hero monster and 1 Fire monster, which of course Blazeman is a Fire monster if you want to sit on your skill card just to be able to keep it for a later turn, which you completely can. Then of course we do run 2 copies of Flaming Wingman. Flaming Wingman I decided to run at more than 1 because this card is just really powerful, being able to inflict damage to your opponent equal to the monster that was destroyed by battle against this card, so therefore I can swing into a big monster, take out their monster, and deal that much damage to them, which is just really powerful. Then, of course, I do run 1 copy of Rampart Blaster. Rampart Blaster requires Clayman and Persenatrix. However, this card says it must be fusion summoned. Then this card can attack directly while it's in defense position, and then if it does, apply its attack for damage calculation, and its attack is half during damage calculation only. So therefore, practically this card can attack. It does become a 1000 while it's in defense, but it still has a pretty big defense, which is just really powerful. And also it does attack direct, so that can just get over any monster your opponent has, and it has a high defense, so hopefully it'll stay on the field for a bit longer. Then of course we do run one copy of Thunder Giant. Thunder Giant requires Elemental Hero Sparkman and Elemental Hero Clayman. This card says that once per turn, you can discard one card, then target one monster from the field with original attack less than the attack of this card, and if you do, destroy that card. So practically, I just looked at the cards that were released for the Elemental Hero strategy for Speed Duels, and I figured that this was the best method, just to be able to set up big monsters really quickly, and then be able to deal a lot of damage. So that's going to be about it for the Hero deck. Let's go ahead and jump right on into the Volcanics. And of course, continue on, we do run Volcanic Cannon as the skill card for this deck. This just says once per duel, you can send one face-up Tri-Blaze Accelerator you control to the graveyard, then special summon one Volcanic Doomfire from your hand, deck, or graveyard, ignoring its summoning condition. Then your opponent takes no effect damage the turn you activate the skill. So this card is just really powerful, being able to get out the boss monster for pretty much free if you have the Tri-Blaze Accelerator, which with this deck is not that hard to do. So, of course, starting off, we do run 3 copies of Volcanic Rocket. Volcanic Rocket just says that when this card is summoned, you can add one Blaze Accelerator from your deck or graveyard to your hand, which is really powerful. Then continuing on, we do run 3 copies of Volcanic Shell. Volcanic Shell says that once per turn, you can pay 500 life points to add one Volcanic Shell from your deck to your hand. This card must be in the graveyard to activate and resolve its effect. So practically this just says that while it's in the graveyard, you just pay 500 life points to add another one to your hand. Then, of course, to wrap up the Volcanic names, we do run one copy of Doomfire. Volcanic Doomfire says that this card cannot be normal summoned or set. Must first be special summoned from your hand by sending one Tri-Blaze Accelerator control to the graveyard. And it says during your opponent's battle phase, attack position monsters your opponent controls must attack this card if able. This card also says that when this card destroys a monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, destroy as many monsters your opponent controls as possible. And if you do, inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each monster destroyed by this effect. So that is just extremely powerful, being able to practically clear boards and make this card the target of attention, and I just feel like this card is extremely important to the deck, as you can obviously tell. Continuing on into just some more really good cards for this deck, of course, we do run 2 copies of Lava Golem. I feel like 3 is not the best option, especially against decks like Elemental Hero, where they mainly just end on one hero, and that's about it. This card just says that it cannot be normal summoned or set, must first be special summoned to your opponent's side of the field by attributing 2 monsters they control, and then this card says that you cannot normal summon or set the turn you activate this card. But then this card also says that once per turn during your standby phase, take 1000 damage. Of course, this will be on your opponent's side of the field, so therefore they will have to take 1000 damage, which is just really powerful. Then to wrap it up, we do run 1 copy of Spirit of Flames. This card just says that this card cannot be normal summoned or set. It must first be special summoned from your hand by banishing 1 fire monster from your graveyard. Gains 200 attack during your battle phase only, so therefore this card does become a 2000 attack monster, just to be able to get over some bigger creatures on your opponent's side of the field. Of course, we do run 3 copies of Blaze Accelerator. Blaze Accelerator just says you can target 1 monster your opponent controls, then send 1 Pyro monster with 500 attack or less from your hand to the graveyard, and if you do, destroy that target. This card also says that your monsters cannot attack the turn you activate this card, which, I mean, is kind of rough. However, with the cards that we run in the deck, just to be able to set up big monsters that our opponents can't get over, it really doesn't hurt us all too bad. Then, of course, we do run 2 copies of Tri-Blaze Accelerator. This card says activate this card by sending 1 face-up Blaze Accelerator control to the graveyard. Then, during your main phase, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls, send 1 power monster from your hand to the graveyard, and if you do, destroy that target. And if you do, inflict 500 points of damage to your opponent. Your monsters cannot attack the turn you activate this effect. So, practically, the whole point of this deck is to be able to quickly set up a bunch of effect damage using Tri-Blaze Accelerator against your opponent, and then also have big monsters on top of that. Then, of course, continue on, I personally run 3 copies of Salamandra. Salamandra just says equip only to a fire monster. It gains 300 attack. However, this card doesn't say that it has to be the only card equipped, so therefore you can just set up Doomfire with multiple Salamandras, making this card really big, really powerful, and hard to get over, and practically that can just win you games. Then to wrap up the deck, we do run 2 copies of Twister. This card just says pay 500 life points and target 1 face-up spell trap on the field. and destroy that card. This card can be used to practically just help clear out boards on our opponent's back row. However, it does have to be face up, so you do have to keep that in mind. So that can get rid of like our opponent's skyscraper, for instance. But really, other than that, it can also destroy equip spells and other just really powerful cards. But really, that's going to be about it for the deck. Alright, so that's going to be about it for the video. Be sure to leave a like, comment down below if you guys like the speed duel content, or if you guys would like to see any more or any particular speed duel stuff. Be sure to leave a comment down below, and make sure to hit that subscribe and the notification bell to keep up with videos like this or any other videos that I post on my channel. Be sure to check the Twitter down in the description where I post constant updates. But with that being said, guys, that's going to be about it. See ya.